Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Modern Mystics. I'm here with Jason today and just thought I would explore with him some of the things I've been going through and gain insight into these topics. And one of them is as a lot of you may know, like I've been going through like this apathy thing and like this fog in the mind and going through the healing with that, and it feels like it's really been rising up recently, especially getting pretty intense sometimes. And Jason's been with me like through this journey, and especially now it feels like we're like assigned together or something, and it's been really helpful but really intense sometimes too. And yeah, I thought we could just explore it together. And yeah, it's like this whole, in a previous show I talked about the whole spirit thing, and it's like I'm coming into this CEO training, and which is completely new to me, and it's also something I always wanted. But in order to be like a CEO, it's like you can't be apathetic, and that's like my main that's like my main healing. So it's nice in that way. It's like I really want it, like even it's like strong desire, but it's also a lot of healing. So yeah, I just been seeing some of my defenses, and it's like one thing I noticed more and more today was this thing where I would have a prompt to do something, like Jason was like, meet me at 4:35 in my room, and then I immediately heard like the Holy Spirit, okay, make a reminder for that. And then but then I immediately just started talking. Like I don't even know what I said after that, but whatever I said, it was like a decision to forget. And then it's almost like, what happened? It's like I just forgot. And then someone else reminded me. They're like, maybe you should put that in your phone as a reminder to meet up with him. I was like, oh wow, I literally was about to do that, and then I just started talking and made myself forget. So I don't know, I think that's been happening a lot recently, especially. But just even noticing that, it's like, why am I doing that? And then noticing like the whole apathy, and it just feels like a defense mechanism in my mind. And I was telling you earlier that I feel like it's a way that I actually like deal with pressure. Actually, if it feels like pressure is coming in my mind, then it's like I'll just release this smoke grenade of apathy or something, and then the fog just fills my mind, and it's like, well, now I'm really not clear and can't see anything, but at least I'm safe from this threat or this fear, whatever I think is like coming at me or something. And then there was this movie clip you showed me another time, Percy Jackson and the Olympians or something like that, and
Lightning Thief.
The Lightning Thief. And there's a scene where they enter a casino and they're really on this mission to find this like green orb or pearl thing. And as soon as they enter, it's like these attractive women come to them, and they have plates with these lotus flower cookies on them, and like, here, have one, it's free. And then they take it, and as soon as they take it, it's like some kind of drug effect, and next thing you know, they completely forgot why they were there. They're like, why did we come here? And then they're like in all these distractions with women and alcohol and partying and whatever, and they just completely forgot. And they were just in this fog. But there must have been some kind of value to that fog, because they seemed to almost be like enjoying it, not like, it's like it was pleasure. It was the ego's pleasure. And it was only when the voice came in really strong to Percy, and then he's like, oh yeah, what am I doing? And this is like a trap. And then he kind of got shaken out of it, and then they were back on their mission. But that's what feels like comes up for me in these moments. It's like I ate a lotus flower or something. And I remember like we went out to the movie theater like a month ago or something, and yeah, I guess it was in my mind, that lotus flower effect or whatever you want to call it, the apathy and fog, whatever. And we were thinking, where should we go eat? And then you're like, maybe a Japanese restaurant. And we went inside, and something didn't feel right to me. So I was like, I don't know if this is what I feel. And then I told you, I feel like I want to go to Panda Express down the street. And so we went there. And Panda Express was like one of my favorite restaurants, like from the past. And so we went inside, and it's like I ate a lotus flower or something. It was really strange because we got our food and sat down, and everything was like so familiar. Like it was like I was back in the past in my mind or something. And yeah, even as you were talking, it was really strong, almost like a hallucination that you were one of my friends from the past. And you know, we would just go out to like a restaurant and just sit there and like just be in some kind of fog and somehow think it was enjoyable, but like just like really with no purpose and just loafing around and like really, yeah, this, I don't know, apathy feeling. But the past was really like coming back really strong in that moment, and I was just seeing that. And I don't know, even today, like when you were in the office and we were just talking, and I guess I was with you a lot today, so it was completely different than what I'm used to. It's like so much more fast paced, but it feels something fresh about it. But then it's pretty fast paced for me, so it's like maybe the pressure was starting to come in or something. So then I did one of those smoke grenades in my mind. And then and then at some point I just, like, I was looking at you, and you were completely like that same friend that I saw in Panda Express that took over you. It was that friend again, and I literally had to like blink like several times and like pull away from that to see that it's Jason. You know, it was pretty wild. And then even Nicolas was in the room, and I said something to him that was one of those like slang phrases that I used to say a lot, but I completely forgot about that phrase, like completely. But it just came out of my mouth in that moment, and I was like, wow, like this really, I don't know, it was like, so the past feels like it has a lot to do with this fog somehow. I don't really understand any of it, but I just know that there's a value to it in my mind. It's like, it's some kind of false sense of safety, or yeah, it feels like a blanket of safety, like I just wrap myself in, and it's like a scared child. It's like, I don't know, like a protection device. Yeah, like a safety blanket. And yeah, there's an attraction to it, but I've had enough experiences to know that it's not like a real joy. Like it's not the light. It's just like a safe, like a little bubble or something. Or like a dissociation or something. Yeah. And I guess I was also noticing that it comes up when there's like some kind of fear in the mind. So yeah, I just thought maybe the purpose of the show could be to explore that more with you. It's like that's the value of this community. It's like we're with our brothers, and our brothers are not experiencing usually the same patterns as us, so they can help us see beyond the pattern. Whereas like by myself, it's like I think this is me.
One of the things that stands out is you said, because you noticed when you and Utah were talking that you had similar like upbringings or / defense mechanisms around. You didn't have to do anything. If you didn't want to do anything, your parents would do it for you. There was no sense of pressure. And it was almost like, oh, maybe I don't have this feeling like I can get it wrong or I'll be punished. Whereas Kurtz and I were describing, certain points where that really wasn't an option. You do your chores. The conditioning is there at such an early age that it's not really an option. Both of those are choices in the mind. But you saw at some point yesterday in the van ride out to that movie that wait a minute, actually there is a punishment underneath that decision, like as the pressure builds. Some kind of, maybe you can describe it, didn't you say?
Yeah, I just noticed there's still like a belief in punishment, and this is like a defense. The apathy is almost like a defense to push away that the fear of punishment.
Yeah.
So it's like, whereas the doer dynamic might be like motivated by the fear of punishment, it's like the apathy is also motivated by the fear of punishment. It just looks different.
Exactly. So that's a huge realization right there, is that there's this pressure in the mind, this punishment, fear of punishment, retaliation or abandonment. Jesus called is sitting down there. And until you've faced that, really, and gone through it, you can't really know what true joy or happiness is. So, okay, that's our starting point.
Right.
So in that sense, you need to tolerate no delay now for thinking that feeling is anything but, I forgot the word, the devil in my mind, like the devil or hell, really. Like, it's becoming more and more intolerable. And I've been watching as you and I are joining in that focus and the intensity. Your eyes will almost start watering, and you start getting all this pressure. And if the conclusion comes in, oh, this pressure is no good, that is the wrong time to apply that comment, because the pressure is always there. And actually, all that's happening now by following guidance and getting in your flow is the pressure in the mind is now being revealed. And he says, forget not now the misery you once held back up here in the fog. Don't let the conclusions come in that somehow you've got to bounce off that pressure. It's like, let the guidance pull you through it. And for you, it's been a lot of being done through, like taking notes, listening. We're sending in teams, Susanna, Jeffrey, to help remind you it's not because we need things done. I mean, come on, what kind of a ministry would this be if it was productivity? But if the doer is so repressed out of awareness that you're not even going to be done through, that's a terrible situation to Jesus. So he's going to have to, not really to him, but it's, he's got to work with that. And it's like, okay, let's send in some big guns, send some grenades down there, send some at the right time with the right support and the right conditions when he knows you can move through it. So right now you've got a bunch of grenades being launched on that defense mechanism to crack it, and you can feel it. And there's some glimmers, some uncomfortability. The punishment is peeking its head through, and you're having faith that underneath that punishment is actually a lot of love. And I see your eyes water when you can feel the brotherhood and the companionship, and that we're all in this together. And I think all of this is encapsulated in the real desire you wanted to have with the show, which was seek not to change the world. It was inspiring, but it kind of lost track, because seek not to change the world, if applied by the ego, is again just apathy. But you've got all of this being done through, and you're revealing all of this CEO tendencies for, actually you have a lot of preferences and the way you want things done, and a lot of it is probably going to be given over to the Spirit and used. And he's like, great, I'll give you that. I'm going to give you the app. I'm going to give you Spirit. Let's do it. These are part of his grenade launches, He's like, let's go. But the personal part, if it interferes with the plan, he's going to wash that away. That's why we're so closely connected. No, here. And the more we stay connected, it's here. And the wanting to change the world is coming up, but he's using it to actually teach yourself what it is you need to learn around being done through, deeper lessons, apathy, pressure, love, all of it is being used so that you can come into the experience on the other end. But for you, I do these morning shows, Seek Not to Change the World, but for you, that's probably, it's not helpful to apply that as a lesson right now. But just see that, oh my God, I actually do have a lot I want to change, but you show me what is guided. We have the same prayer. Remember I said that the other day, you show me what is guided versus what is a control mechanism.
Yeah.
That's why we're links. We have the same prayer at the core.
Yeah. Because that desire does come up a lot too with all this, a desire, with the whole spirit thing, to have it in my vision of betterment, like you said on your show too. So it's remembering when that comes up to just don't follow the personal initiative and personal inspiration. So yeah, it's like David was using the pendulum analogy. I don't know if I would just watch a video on it or if it was on the last Sunday shows, but it's to me it feels like this pendulum, it's swings between apathy and wanting to change the world or something. And then it's I'm looking for that stopping point now. It's where it's just being done through and where it's real inspiration, the Holy Spirit's actual plan,
Mm-hmm.
Not my own ideas of how things should look or wanting to control things.
Well, even that you could, you've swung quite far in the pendulum. It's your pendulum isn't swinging. Your pendulum is bolted against one side of the wall, and locks and padlocks and everything. It's so for you, it's more we got to loosen that thing. So you don't have to worry the gift. You see, we've had people that come into the ministry and they'll have these beliefs around sharing thoughts. If they share the thought, it makes it more real. And yet there's this whole load of things that need to be communicated and shared. So we just say, don't worry about what you have to say. Just say it. Don't even think of discernment. The word discernment would be inappropriate right now. Just speak. Right. It's going to come in. And they start going and they're choking. It's a terrible situation. But they let it through in the same way. You don't have to really think that certain doings are going to lead you down the wrong path. That's not a concern for you. It's you just go for it. Fire those cylinders. You just launch for the moon. You don't, the first man, you don't have to worry about which direction you're going. You fire. You have so many friends around you right now. They're sending lassos out and redirecting and go here. And we're just so happy the rockets are firing. Go, 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 go. And don't spend 1 second worrying about whether it's the right thing. The angels are being sent in to help you prioritize. You just have to focus on keeping the rockets fired. Don't stop. You're in a phase where if you stop that part, you can't direct a bicycle that's not moving. The only way you direct a bicycle is if it's moving. It's the way centrifugal force works with the tires. You have to keep that thing going. And while you're going, you talked about this. Do you have something? Or?
No.
You talked about this story around seeing me as this fog comes over. I'm this friend that used to keep you in sleep or whatever, be with you in sleep. That happened to Kirsten and I. I remember one time working really hard to get the outside of the peace house all, nicely done, and I was chopping wood through these special graters and raking. I was a landscaper, so it was probably unconsciously or even consciously, David's going to come home one day and see what a nice job he did. And he came back, and I remember when he walked up to the door and looked over at me. And not only did he not say anything, but he looked at me, and I saw him like it was some kind of a evil devil or had morphed or something. And I was like this fear, this terror had come up, and I think that's what happens when you get mighty companion. What happens in the world, or even that gets repressed and you just get into even worse fog. But as you start going, the people that are around you are going to reflect this fear of punishment. Kirsten saw him as one time with horns, you know, and it's like the defense mechanism of the ego. Where do you think you're going? Don't entertain that way. But it's actually a time that you can, they're right beside you. You can just reach your hand out, literally, like say, hey, I'm seeing you through a fog. Can you hold my hand? And then the person can, okay, what do we need to do and move on? But, you know, it's probably been a few years since those faces have come to haunt you. But they're just being sent in now as like last-ditch efforts to take your rocket fuel away.
Yeah. And sometimes it gets intense because, you know, we talk about the ego takes hits, you know. We use that term, the ego takes hits, and it's like, I don't know how to describe, maybe you have a better way of describing like the ego taking hits, but it's like, to me it's like this fear of punishment. It's a punishment that doesn't actually happen, but it's like the fear of punishment. So that feels like, to me, like the term when the ego takes hits. So it's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I just noticed it can get intense, like moving through this, because it's like I forget so many things, and then it's like dealing with the hits that the ego takes when there's a correction too. So it's like, how do you not get discouraged, or like how do you move through that kind of thing and keep going?
I think it's a deep prayer, but I remember saying a few times, not only do I want to be wrong, but I want to face the wrongness. So when I say that, you can bet it's pretty likely the wrongness is going to come up, which is a hit, right? But only the self-concept takes a hit. Only the false self can take a hit. So in a sense, it's a bring it on prayer. It's like, I can't, you're already in a big hit. I'm so, I mean, well, everyone, but I'm so apathetic, or I'm so upset with my life, or I'm so disappointed or disgruntled. I feel terrible. That is a hit.
Right.
But that's a worse hit when you don't know what to do or how to get out of it than maybe a loosening or shaking. Like you've got that pendulum stuck against the wall and nailed, and you start peeling locks off. There's something that's going to be screaming in the mind or not like it. And as you let it go, it might even, at some point, not yet, but hit the other side of the wall, and that can seem to hurt. But it's like, you know, it's actually going to be better. Even the so-called hits to the self-concept are better than, I don't feel anything. I'm like, you know, I had that. I didn't feel anything. I'd had no emotions, nothing. And I was like, this sucks. I can't take it anymore. I want to feel something no matter what it is. Just shake me up. Okay, well, here you go. But then the self-concept, like the part that thinks it's right. But I watch you. I don't actually think those hits are that bad for you. You take them quite well, which is why I think, you know, we're activated all around you and things. You just, they roll off you, actually. So maybe there's a voice in there that's like, this is terrible, but I don't know that that's that strong.
Right.
And this is, in some ways, we would call it phase 2, because somebody wrote an article years ago, phase 1, miracles, honeymoons, the course is my path. Yay, a miracle. Jesus is with me.
Yeah.
They're so important and they're so real. And in a sense, you can ride the miracle all the way out, but I was so adamant that there was going to be no pain on this journey. And I remember one time, David says, you know, it can look messy, and it's going to be messy. And that was so terrifying, because that means that I couldn't really control the journey, and this phase of being washed through a washing machine was going to happen, but the prayer pulls you through. So
Yeah. It reminds me of the confusion of pain and joy. That's what it all feels like. Because if I actually totally felt it was pain, like it says in the Course, if you realize what's pain and what's joy, then you would let it go forever. But
Wow, that's such a deep idea.
yeah. Yeah. So I can definitely see that in my mind. But that's my prayer too. Like, I think that's why I need a lot of miracles, so that I can consistently see the difference, between pain and joy through those contrast experiences, so that I can continue to keep choosing like what's real joy, like over and over, until like this pattern of apathy just gets let go of, because there's no more like value for it anymore. Yeah, so it's like I need a lot of miracles. Like, I want a lot of miracles in this. It's like in Homer's Odyssey, the sirens calling to him. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
You mean like the lotus flowers calling you, or sirens as in the guidance?
Well, in Homer's Odyssey, like, there's the sirens on the rocks that are calling to the
ship
captains, and they have to like not listen and tie themselves to, and just keep going out of the pattern. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like the apathy's calling, but it's like, no, like don't listen. Just keep going until you're out of the pattern entirely.
Well, in your case, I see it too, like we talked yesterday at the lunch table, that since there's nothing external to you really, but it appears like you have friends outside of you, right? Me, Jeffrey, Yuta, and Suzanne, and they're saying things to you. And while you're going through this period of sirens where the voices are so strong for apathy, if you have these devoted mighty companions, they're not sirens, right?
Right.
You're hoping.
Yeah, they're not sirens.
Then it's like, okay, what if I listen to those voices? And that's what Homer did. He tied himself to the ship and like, actually I think looked where he could find the route safety so that he would have no chance of going off course. He made it, and so you could listen to this other voice, this other sight, and it seems external, but it's a phase of pulling through you these difficult things until you see, oh my God, that was always my own voice pulling me through. It doesn't seem like that in the beginning, but that can be a strong focus too. What are they saying? Instead of you trying to control the situation, like what happened with today when you, let's meet at 4:35, and then right away at the unconscious, hey Jason, what about let's have a party. You didn't even know it was a party until later, but wait a minute. What did he say? What did they? Oh yeah, 4:35. What do I need to remember? It can be a real focus, an expediter out. I said to David one time, I'd already had him and several others as that external, and it was time to like merge a little better. And I said, "Are you still my Socrates, or is it someone else?" And he said, "Why don't you let the universe be your Socrates?" And then you don't know where it's coming from, whether it's internal, it's the world. And that's beautiful too, but right now you have a very, very focused Socrates, actually. That's the beauty of being together with mighty companions in focused areas. You don't have to wonder if it's the mailman on the street, or do I listen to, it's like, they're pretty much telling you, right. I'm with you, Andy, I'm with you, Andy, I'm with you, Andy.
Right. Yeah, it's really sweet, like Susanna saying, I'm here to support you in this, and like just being linked up with her, it's like, I don't know, it's like, yeah, she just came to me like before the show and just said she felt inspired to be linked up with me like that, in that kind of way. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like, I have all these angels like around me, helping me go past the sirens.
You sure do. Oh yeah, you don't like that.
It's okay.
We'll limit it.
We'll talk about that on the next show. But if I could keep going now though, because it all feels like this is probably all part of the self-concept, right? This is all like a self-concept in my mind. Should we go into another topic?
It's your show.
Yeah, and like part of that self-concept is like this like gay thing, you know. It's like that's so weird. I guess it's also part of some kind of programming, because when I was in high school, and you know, it's like the most common insult you would hear is like, that's gay, even though might not have anything to do with sexuality. It's like all the kids just nonstop just kept saying it. It's almost like this program in the mind. So it just felt like even that was part of my self-concept. And now it's like okay, if Nicolas wants to hold hands before the show, or even you, or any guy, especially like on a show or whatever, it's like I'm just hit up against like this. It's like, that's not my self-concept. It's like, I don't know, that's gay, or whatever the thoughts might be. And it's funny, we just watched Bohemian Rhapsody yesterday, and I didn't have any kind of those past thoughts with the movie. I was like, wow, like I really love this guy, like he's so cool, and I don't know. But I guess it's just some kind of programming or self-concept thing. Like, I don't really understand it, but yeah, it comes up a lot with Nicolas, especially because, you know, he's from that time period of my life where all the programming came in. So it's like, I'll almost like hear past friends like the sirens in my mind, like saying, like making comments about things that don't match that self-concept. And yeah, one of them is like the holding hands thing. Like I'll almost hear them like laughing or something. I had this dream last night. I'll just say it just in case like you have any thoughts about it. But these bulls were charging me, and I don't know. I was like hanging from this ledge, and this bull would try jumping and like try to ram me, and then I would have to drop to the ground. But then another bull would charge me, so I had to jump up again. And then it was like, I don't know. These bulls were just coming at me, and eventually I just started talking to one of them, and I was like, we need to make an agreement. Like, if I come down from this wall, that you won't attack me. But he was like really vicious looking, and I think he agreed finally. But it was scary. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like, do you see anything?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I see that as your friends around you right now, or the bulls in your mind, and you see them either as like foggy people that can keep you trapped, or aggressive, like on you. Why are these? I don't know if you have those thoughts. Why are these people so on me? If there's a voice, you know, and they're like bulls, but when you turn and face them and willing to have a conversation, they're just really good friends. You know, because it's just a part of your mind that's being activated. Like even that show Ferdinand.
Yeah,
you know,
that came to mind actually.
The bull. He's really this gentle giant.
Yeah.
Has no interest in fighting and has all these love for flowers, and yet on the surface everybody sees him as an actual bull, but he's really loving.
Wow, yeah.
And I think that's how that ties in. Like, Jesus never goes after primary defenses first. So I don't know if these thoughts around gay or whatever, homosexual, are a primary defense per se, but But like you can see that movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, and you can feel the love. You can see his innocence and the connection, and that's like the truth, the reality. And yet when it comes to this steaming body, it's like there's some kind of fog that comes up around that identity that is wrong. And I think that if there's only two states of mind, right? Truth and, like, say, fear. So self-hatred and love. Self-hatred and love. So you can sense the truth when you watch Bohemian Rhapsody, and then Nicolas or I Hold Your Hand, and something else comes up. So it's self-hatred, right?
Yeah.
But before you would say, well, I'm going to just go face that. Actually, I think that the life plan that is set up for you right now is going to face that self-hatred. You don't really need to put a lot of thought or concern in that right now, like what's going on or how to stop it or figure it out. You just have your rocket fuel in the direction you've got to keep ignited and fly with, and your mighty companions that just remember to pay attention to them. And those things are just going to naturally wash away without much effort on your part. That's the gift of miracles. They generalize to cover over everything at the right moment. So.
Right. Because, yeah, when I would journal on those thoughts, eventually, every time I would get to, like, self-hatred at the core of it. Yeah. And there wouldn't always be a release, but it's like, I know the means still. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, if it does feel like a combo package, like the other stuff will lift with the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think I have any other thoughts. Okay, well, thank you guys, and thanks for coming along with me on this journey. It's healing the mind. And, yeah, actually, I can announce a couple of things. First one is that Modern Mystics will actually be changing show times to 8 a.m. MST on Mondays. And you can watch it on the same place, spirit.ai, wherever you're watching it now. And yeah, I'll see you at 8 a.m. MST. Yeah. And let's see. I think it's pretty exciting, so I just wanted to mention it too. The book thing. There's a book that a lot of you probably know about that's coming out on February 2nd. This Moment Is Your Miracle. And we recently just released a lot of different offers with the book. Like, if you want to pre-order even just one book, you get, like, I think it's up on the screen now, or it's about to be. You get, yeah, what do you get? You get a free MWG subscription, I think, like 1 month. It'll be on the screen, and yeah, you'll get like a sneak preview of a chapter from the book, 1 month subscription to MWGE, and yeah, another section of the book. And that's just for pre-ordering 1 or 2 books. And then if you pre-order more, there's even more gifts. So it's a lot. It's actually really amazing. It's like if you pre-order 3 books, you'll get like $200 of value with it. And then yeah. What can we talk about the custom offers? 'Cause those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, if you pre-order, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like, I know there's one that's 3,600 books. And that one, David will come to a private retreat with you and like 12 other friends, either at the monastery or at La Casa. And then there's another one that's, I think it's a less amount of books, but it's just really exciting. I just think it's really cool that there's so many different options. We're just like giving away everything, basically. It's like there's a lot of gifts if you did want to pre-order the book. And we've been doing these journaling sessions here in the Camas Center with Greg, and they've been so helpful with everything I've been going through. So yeah, just something to check out if you feel inspired to.
Yeah, you can order a book on Amazon and send it to a friend. I just did that today. We're just having fun with an organic sharing.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys. See you next week on Monday at 8 a.m.
Thank you.